OSIPP IAFOR lecture series, and to talk to you all about a country where I've been conducting field work over the past couple of years, and that's Iraq. And it fits nicely, I guess, into the topic of this particular course because a lot of the literature and a lot of the debates on Iraq.
Yeah, in the Iraqi South, where I spent the most of my time, the memory of 2003 is very conflicted. On the one hand, many people saw the overthrow of Saddam and the withdrawal of Saddam's security forces from these communities as a moment of liberation and a moment of celebration. On the other hand, there's also deep suspicion of US involvement in Iraq to the point where you would have some Iraqis calling for, when ISIS was marching over the country, some Iraqis calling for more American involvement to assist Iraq in removing ISIS from the country, and then some groups in the South saying, no, if any Americans come back to Iraq, we will attack them also, right? So there is a very conflicted memory of the experience of 2003 in a sense of kind of not necessarily the overthrow of Saddam, which was greeted pretty much unanimously with joy and optimism, but with US motivations for coming to Iraq is one thing that you hear a lot of people question, and a deep suspicion about what the US is doing in Iraq, right? So there are Iraqis who genuinely believed that the US was funding and supporting and arming ISIS to fight against these Iraqi militias in the north of the country. And these are very difficult sentiments to counter. And there is a deep-seated suspicion of the US presence, largely as a result of the occupation and the large number of American troops that had come through the country. And also, when you talk about transitional justice with Iraqis, for example, they will also talk, they'll bring up events that involve, for example, US military contractors and the deaths of Iraqi citizens and accountability for these individuals also. So yes, there is definitely a strong suspicion of the US, but on the other hand, there are those Iraqis who appreciate the removal of Saddam, but also appreciate US assistance in the war against ISIS. So it's a very mixed, muddled topic. So thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the interesting lecture. I was just wondering how you see the future of Iraq.
Thank you for the question, and it's a very good question. And I think there's a lot of pessimism surrounding Iraq's future that you're probably reading about and encountering in the media. But I would like to end on a slightly more optimistic note, in the sense that Iraq now has a very vibrant political culture and electoral competition, despite many of the challenges that Iraq is facing today. Iraq is going to be holding elections, and there will be some form of coalition government that will be faced with the challenge of reintegrating Iraq's diverse communities into the Iraqi state or under the Iraqi state. So in a sense, in part because of my interaction with young Iraqis who are dedicated to and striving to rebuild their state, or to build their state anew perhaps, I am cautiously optimistic in the sense that while Iraq has a number of challenges and Iraq is going to face a number of difficulties in the coming years, that in the long term there will be a political community that emerges from this that is a community that's not marked and scarred by the violence that Iraqis are experiencing today and have experienced over the last few years. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.